I've been trying to make games for the past 2 years, and I realized I've been doing it wrong the entire time. See, I tried to shortcut my way into game dev like a lot of people. Once you realize that you're able to make games or you're able to put together your favorite mechanics, you kind of jump into your dream game, or you jump into trying to make this professional quality game. That is like the worst decision that you could possibly make. In order to make games and be the next indie hit, you first have to be an indie. To be an indie, you have to do things in an imperfect way, producing your creative passions regardless of the budget, the time, or the resources. Like a lot of you, I made a ton of mistakes on my journey, and really I just made things 10 times harder on myself than it needed to be. But besides being an indie, there are a ton of other ways to be successful in game development, so let's take a second to address the sponsor of today's video. This video is sponsored by Southern New Hampshire University. Game development is an extremely vast world, and it can be overwhelming. Many people like me started out teaching themselves while stuck at a job they hate or going to school for something they're not passionate about. Maybe you want to make the switch to learning game development from a professional and join the industry. At SNHU, courses are taught by faculty with real-world experience. You'll learn computer programming languages like C++, C#, or Java. Use Unreal Engine to construct games for various platforms such as console or PC. You'll learn 3D modeling, texturing with game art software, and many more things. This is one of the best ways to learn game development and lead you down the right direction. When you graduate, SNHU will still be there to help you begin your job hunt. Go to snhu.edu/gamecourier and learn how you can get started with your game development degree. All right, let's get back to the video. Really, there are 3 mistakes that I made that I wish I could go back in time and stop myself from doing. Number 1 would be to enjoy the tutorial phase. Your first game should be something that no one ever really sees. Like during this time, you're just throwing stuff together. You're seeing what you can do and you're having fun. You're recreating mechanics, you're testing things out, you're having funny bugs, you're having frustrating bugs, and really it's no pressure. Once you start to impress yourself and see what you really can do, you can talk yourself into making this grand project or roping your friends and other people into it. Don't do that. The idea behind it is correct. You're trying to see what you can do. You're trying to test your limits, but you should try your best to stay an indie and not jump into professional right away. See, this is where I think the disconnect is between advice that you get and what really happens in the real world. No matter how small my game was, I ran into the same issues when trying to figure things out on my own. You don't know what you don't know at this stage. You think that you understand how to put together a game, but no matter how small the project, as you go through the steps, you will hit roadblocks. What I wish I did was try to make a clone of an already existing game, but really you're just trying to figure out what you can do in this tutorial phase. I think that the reason why a lot of people making their dream games do well in getting past this phase is because their dream game is based off of an existing game. So it's a lot easier for you to get everything right because you're copying something that already exists. You're just adding your own little twist onto it. This helps a lot in seeing your work come to life and come together. And I think this is why the people trying to make their dream game do a lot better than the people trying to make original small games. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you should go finish your dream game. I'm saying that during your tutorial phase or learning or trying to put something together, it'll be a lot easier than coming up with something completely original. The second mistake that I made, speaking of originality, learning to make games is like an RPG, and you need to pick a class. I know that being an indie developer, you have to wear every hat. You have to be an artist, you have to be a marketer, a programmer, everything. However, what I've learned is the best indie developers specialize in 1 or 2 things. This will help you not only stand out, it'll help you work well with other people in the future, and ultimately it'll help you focus on what's most important in your game. If you love animations, if you love 2D pixel art, maybe you just love coding, maybe you love environment design and level design. Whatever that thing is for you that you have the most fun doing, you should lean into, and that will very quickly become something you're known for, something you specialize in, and you should build your games around those things. Eventually in the future you can subclass into something else, but at least start by building your foundation off one thing. Or maybe you're like me and you don't have a favorite, or you didn't come into this with the skill set already. Really just pick what works the best for you, or maybe try out different things during this tutorial phase and see what is easiest for you, what is the most fun for you, and try to lean into those things. And that's the mistake that I made, is I just kind of was making the games in my mind and then trying to make them in real life. Instead of saying, I'm good at this or I'm bad at that, let me avoid what I'm bad at, let me lean into what I'm good at, and it'll be much easier for you to make games. Game jams are a great way to get a taste of everything at once and find your niche. Now keep in mind, you still have to do everything, but it makes it a lot easier when you know that you're a better environment artist than 3D modeler, or you're a better gameplay designer than you are level designer. Or maybe you can find someone who is good at the things that you're not, and then together you guys can do really well. But if you don't know what you're good at, how can you know who to partner up with? The third thing I want to say is share it, don't sell it. I know most people say don't make your dream game, or they say make small games and try to release that first, but there is a such thing as too safe and too risky. You want to fall right in that sweet spot in the middle, especially as a beginner. And I feel this is where I made the mistake of trying to go too hard and make a bunch of crappy games and not learning enough, or trying to make this really polished professional game and not being able to achieve success. You can't work on things in secret forever. I'm not telling you to run into making your dream game, and I'm not telling you to make a really small game to try and make money. Aim for some sort of finish line, whether it be a custom character, maybe a plugin, maybe a really cool scene or a really cool environment pack. Even if you have no plans for your project to finish, or you have no idea on what you want to make in the long term, at least put it into a state that is some sort of finish that you could share it. It's really a fine line between staying in the tutorial phase and just making a project and trying to put it on Steam. I think the middle is the perfect place for a beginner, where you make it and you want to share it with your friends, or you make it and you want to share it online. Eventually, it'll get to a place where you can sell it, or maybe the community will tell you they want to buy it. For me specifically, especially to learn how to make games, it's more important to share it. I've gotten advice in the comments, I've gotten advice on Twitter that I never would have gotten had I never created this channel. The first project that I had someone play and review was a Ludum Dare game jam, and that experience changed everything for me. Once I got serious about making games, I started needing things I never cared about. I needed to make money, I needed to get views and build an audience, I needed better, more professional assets, I needed bug-free code. I went from trying to put together small games to comparing my games to other professional indie hits. I wanted everything in my game to mean something. I wanted the mechanics to be perfect and to feel great to play. I started listening to YouTubers tell me about how to release games that sell and how much money they could make. It very quickly killed my creative process. Getting serious about my game or my new career has been a mental roadblock for me that has stopped me from producing anything at all. I started this channel to make games in public, to build a community of people who also want to learn, and I want to get back to doing that. Somewhere along the lines, I found myself being a teacher when I was supposed to be learning, producing cool projects that succeed or fail regardless of the outcome. Suddenly I wanted to make projects that made money, that garnered success and notoriety. I found myself hunting instead of exploring. Going forward, I just want to get back to making cool stuff and sharing game projects with you guys and learning. I think what's more important is to stay in a place of creativity, at least in the beginning. You want to have fun doing this. That's the only way that you're going to learn by yourself. I gained the most success and learned the most in that sweet spot of putting your game on itch.io or being able to share it with your friends than maybe making a console port or maybe putting a items menu in the game. You don't need to do that if you're just planning on sharing your game and learning how to make it. Keeping your game in an ugly state versus putting your game on Steam is a world of difference. Nobody is on this channel because I made Balatro or Vampire Survivors. I found the most success on this channel when I shared what I was making instead of trying to sell what I'm making. And I think that shift in vision and that shift in focus has become a roadblock for me in how to produce more content and how to just move forward in my career as a game developer. In the future, I will be revisiting the fun exploration of making games on this channel. I want to make a ton of different game ideas. I want to make a ton of different genres. Maybe some of those will become games that I put online. I think instead of trying to make my dream game or trying to chase the dream of, making money making my games, I think it's more important to get really good at my craft, which is just to make games and share it with you all. So Anyway, this is me coming back to the channel, coming back to share, kind of my journey and how things have been. I hope you guys have been well. I've been going through a lot personally, so I hope you guys can forgive me. This channel will be a lot more active in 2025. You can count on that 100%, and you will be hearing from me soon. So take care, y'all. Peace.